Order, order. We start with questions to the Secretary of State for Science, Innovation and Technology, Emma Foody.
On, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Over 85% of UK premises are now able to access gigabit-capable broadband connection. Through Project Gigabit, over a dozen suppliers are delivering contracts to bring fast, reliable broadband to over 1 million more homes and businesses across the country. My team is making good progress and is pushing forward with further plans to improve digital connectivity in hard-to-reach communities that would otherwise be missing out.
Emma Foody.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the Secretary of State for his answer. Access to reliable broadband is essential to residents across Cramlington and Killingworth. However, for those who fall just outside commercial full fibre broadband deployment areas, it remains a real issue impacting on their ability to work and to study. What further action can the government take to ensure that residents falling just outside current rollout areas aren't left behind?
I'm very grateful to the honourable member for her question. She is a good advocate for her new constituency. I want everybody to know that this department, the new DSIT department, it's not far removed because we are representing areas of technology from space right the way through to digital infrastructure. We realise that every area, every aspect of this department is connected to human beings who are trying to get forward and on in life, and nowhere is that more important than being able to express their lives online. So I can reassure the honourable lady that we are making sure that the market for digital provision is a functioning market that will deliver for her providers. And where providers are in areas where the market isn't as full as we would like, those market providers need to be working together to make sure that every resident across her constituency gets the connectivity that it deserves.
Helen Whately.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Throwley and Whately in my constituents have been battling for high-speed broadband. We thought we had it over the line until a recent call with BD UK, which then said it was still to be confirmed. Would the Minister be willing to meet with me to discuss how we can make sure these communities don't get missed out again?
Well, I can hear the encouraging signs from her benches asking for the meeting, and I can say from the outset this is a department that wants to engage with everyone, that will make sure that... I haven't finished yet. To make sure that everyone from every constituency across the country gets full access to the connectivity they need. And in that in mind, my minister, who is responsible for the rollout of these services, will meet with officials and make sure that she gets the attention that her constituents deserve.
Liberal Democrat spokesperson Victoria Collins.
In Harpenden and Berkhamsted, constituents and businesses are plagued, like many, with patchy access. Andy from Wheatamstead has found that the only way he can move forward to work from home and run a business is to have expensive satellite broadband. Would the Minister commit to make sure that every home and business gets access to gigabit broadband in rural and remote communities, but also ensure that there are bespoke solutions so that no home or no business is left out?
I'm grateful for the question. Our manifesto commitment is to get to 99% coverage by 2030, and that is something we are determined to do. The programme run by BD UK for shared rural networks is technology neutral. I am encouraging them as fulsomely as I can, and so is the Minister responsible, to make sure that every single technology emerging as well as existing is put to good use in the search and the endeavour to get that done.
Kevin Bonavia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to thank the Secretary of State for his answer. I'm proud that my constituency of Stevenage is... Oh, sorry. Go. Take question. Sorry. Number two.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank the honourable member for his question and the fact that he takes every opportunity to raise the life sciences sector in Stevenage. He will be happy to hear that this government has a clear plan for supporting the life sciences sector as set out in our life sciences plan. Stevenage indeed has a thriving life sciences community. It is home to GSK, Autolus and a growing number of biotechs. We are continuing to encourage companies to expand their footprint in the area, supported by the Cell and Gene Therapy Catapult, which operates the Manufacturing Innovation Centre and Skills and Training Laboratories.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for the answer to my written question. In my supplementary, I'd like to say that I'm very proud that my constituency of Stevenage is a top location for life sciences companies to develop cutting-edge technologies. One of these, BioOrbit, which is hosted by Airbus Defence and Space in Stevenage through its SME Accelerator programme, is building a pharmaceuticals factory in space to leverage the benefits of microgravity for large-scale administration of cancer treatments. In addition, another UK prime company, GSK, hosts over 40 SMEs. Would my right honourable friend agree with me that we need to do all we can to support innovative SMEs in the life science and space sector?
The honourable friend rightly acknowledges that Stevenage is a leading hub for life science companies to develop and commercialise cutting-edge therapeutics. GSK and Airbus are shining examples of UK's innovation at work. And earlier this week, we published the Industrial Strategy Green Paper to drive a long-term, sustainable, inclusive and secure growth, securing investment into crucial sectors of the economy, including life sciences. There is an opportunity to renew the UK's leadership in life sciences through bold innovation and collective partnerships with the sector to build an NHS fit for the future and drive economic growth across the region of the UK.
Alison Griffiths.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Following the successful investment in Rolls-Royce's Technology and Logistics Centre, what is the Minister doing to get more investment into my Bognor Regis and Littlehampton constituency?
I'm quite sure Rolls-Royce fit into life sciences. If you've got an answer to it.
I thank the honourable member for her question. Just to say, she would have seen from the investment summit earlier this week, there is huge interest in investment in this country from a number of companies, and there is huge support from this government to support those companies who are invested in the UK.
Sir Ashley Fox.
Question number 3, Mr. Speaker.
The most recent statistics which are available for the old shape of his constituency would suggest that 97% of properties in his area have 4G connection. However, I'm not very sure that these statistics reflect the lived experience of most people in his constituency, or I suspect any other constituency in the land. And secondly, that's not good enough, which is why our ambition is to get to all populated areas having standalone 5G by 2030.
Ashley Fox.
I'm grateful to the Minister for his answer. Bridgewater is a mixture of urban and rural, and many of my constituents in the rural parts complain of almost non-existent signals. The O2 signal in Burnham-on-Sea is non-existent. In Paulet, Vodafone and EE are non-existent. In Chedsey, the EE signal is non-existent. Can the Minister confirm that the government intends to continue funding of the shared rural network so that we can improve coverage for all our constituents?
Well, I note that the mobile signal seems to be working in here, which is unusual for the rest of the country. Look, we've got to get this right. You cannot live without a proper mobile signal. It's essential for people's lives, for their health, for their ability to run a business, and we are determined to put that right. And in direct answer to his question, are we going to continue to fund it? Yes, we are.
Julie Min.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In constituencies like Bridgewater and mine of Carlisle, poor mobile coverage forced people to be very reliant on their fixed line services. Does the Minister share my concern that the switch off of the PSTN network will leave constituents unable to access 999 services in the event of an emergency?
I welcome my honourable friend. She makes a really good point, which is that as we take away the copper lines and move over to the new technology, which we need to do, it is absolutely essential, even if it's only for people who have telecare devices that they rely on for their own safety. I'm sure we all have relatives who have one of these. Then we need to make sure that there is safe transition. I've already met with all the operators, and I'm determined to crack the whip on this.
Ahab Khan. Not here. Mark Ferguson.
5, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The UK's R&D system is a central strength and vital to the future prosperity and well-being of our citizens. We are recognised for our strengths of our university system and the research base, and we are investing through UKRI to continuously improve our R&D capabilities. In July, we launched 5 new quantum technology hubs delivered by UKRI and backed by over £100 million worth of government funding. This will ensure that British people benefit from the potential of quantum technologies, from healthcare to computing to national security and critical infrastructure alike.
Ferguson.
I thank the Minister for his response. Turbo Power Systems in my constituency is a great example of a global company built on research and development, but with proud local roots. Would you be happy to visit, as I have, to see their fantastic work?
Yeah. I'm grateful to my honourable friend for the question. Of course, the next time I'm in the region, I really look forward to visiting Turbo Power Systems and the amazing work they do. They are contributing to the endeavour and one of the key missions of this country, which is this government, to get to clean power, superpower status by 2030. And I look forward to seeing what they're doing to make that a reality.
Tom Gordon.
I recently visited Yorkshire Cancer Research in my constituency of Harrogate and Knaresborough. They're coming up to 100 years since they've been founded, and they've created amazing drugs like tamoxifen that have helped people extend their lives and fight cancer. We know that in Yorkshire, less than 5% of medical research is spent in R&D in our area. I'm wondering, given that we have 8% of the population, what more the Secretary of State can do to make sure R&D opportunity investment is spread around our country.
It's incredibly important for this government that we invest across the whole country, which is why we've invested £118 million in healthcare research and partnership hubs which are outside of London and around the United Kingdom. I hope that this benefits his area too.
Jill Moore, Chair of the Select Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The whole House, and certainly the government's industrial strategy, recognises that to drive growth we need innovation clusters across the country. The last government committed to increasing R&D spend outside of the Greater South East by 40% by 2030 as part of the failed levelling up strategy. Would the Secretary of State say whether he intends to maintain that target and/or what steps he will take to ensure that funding is available to drive regional growth and innovation?
I'm extremely grateful for the question from my honourable friend, and I congratulate her on behalf of the whole House on her election as Chair of the Science, Innovation and Technology Select Committee. I look forward to appearing before it soon and regularly afterwards. She raises an incredibly important point, and I can say that this government is committed to working with local and regional mayors to make sure that local growth plans and the partnerships with the UKRI are one that benefits all regions. I can say that these include a £100 million Innovation Accelerator pilot and £80 million Launchpad programmes, all of which will meet the needs that she is outlining.
Jim Shannon.
Mr. Speaker, can I thank the Secretary of State very much for his answer, and he has an interest in Northern Ireland. Can I ask this question? Does the Secretary of State hold stats on how much research and development tax relief support has been issued to Northern Ireland in the last 12 months to help support science and technology? If you don't have the figures today, quite happy if you send them on to me. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
As always, I'm grateful to hear from the honourable gentleman. Any specifics that I can follow up from this, I'll be in touch with. But we are a government committed to Northern Ireland, which I believe he will see from day one of this Labour government back in July. I can also show that there's been great advancements in the investment into Northern Ireland, which is why broadband, fast fibre optic broadband, has the highest coverage rates in Northern Ireland than any part of the United Kingdom. I want to be a champion for Northern Ireland and visited recently to make sure that everybody there in the science and technology community realises this is a government that's on their side.
Sir Saki Bhatt.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In one of the Secretary of State's first acts in his role, he cut £1.3 billion worth of funding that would have been transformative for enabling cutting-edge research and development in Britain. I note he's also ditched our ambition to turn Britain into a science and technology superpower. And whilst we set a target of £20 billion for R&D, which we met, he has set no such target. Will he be setting a target, and could he today promise that there will be no cuts to R&D expenditure?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I congratulate the honourable gentleman on his appointment to the role. Let's just be honest about what we inherited, this government. That £20 billion black hole is something affecting every single department across government. We inherited a situation in my department where the previous government, including the Chancellor the former Chancellor here, committed at this dispatch box to an exascale project that not one single penny was committed to. Not one single penny. This was a fraud committed on the scientific community of our country by this government. And then I had to make the difficult decision to move forward.
Order! I think we've gone on long enough on that question.
Question 6.
As part of Project Gigabit, the supplier Freedom Fibre is delivering a contract to provide 15,000 homes and businesses across Cheshire, including in her constituency, with access to fast, reliable broadband. And on top of this, over 800 vouchers have been issued to connect premises in her constituency through the Gigabit Broadband Voucher Scheme.
I'm grateful to the Minister for his response. Close to half of the wards in my constituency of Chester South and Eddisbury are judged by Ofcom to be in the worst 30% of all areas in the UK when it comes to a decent broadband connection. And my constituents will be deeply concerned by reports that the current review of the next stage of Project Gigabit could see funds diverted from hard-to-reach rural areas to major cities like central London. Can I ask the Minister to offer a concrete guarantee that no rural community will be left behind as part of the government's review?
Well, I don't see it as a divide between rural and urban, because there are urban issues as well as rural ones. But she's absolutely right. The previous government failed in delivering in her constituency, and we intend to put that right. She shouldn't believe everything she reads in the newspapers. I know she was trying to have a meeting with BDUK. I'm very happy to make sure that if she and myself and officials can sit down to try and sort out these problems in her constituency, I'm happy to do that for any other members of the House as well.
Nick Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Minister knows that improved connectivity is really important to the economy of our South Wales valleys. However, it's been hard for me to get definitive information on the rollout of Project Gigabit to Trevel, just north of Tredegar, in my constituency. So could I please ask the Minister to look into this, so that my constituency in Trevel and the rest of Blaenau Gwed and Rumney know when their broadband service will improve?
I'm very happy to arrange the same kind of meeting as I was offering over there with my honourable friend. He's quite right that there are very significant problems in valleys communities in South Wales, and we need to put these right. I would also say it is a shame that we haven't had a digital inclusion strategy for 10 whole years. I think that is a disgrace, and that's one of the things that we need to put right.
Mr. Carmichael.
Mr. Speaker.
We've already debated some of these issues, as he knows, and he's quite right to stress that the space sector in the UK is one of our most important possible areas of economic growth. We want to maximise our unique potential in this area, and I look forward to working with him and the companies based in his own constituency who are seeking to do this.
Well, Mr. Carmichael. Can I thank the Minister for that? Because this is a sector that offers massive economic and strategic opportunities for the United Kingdom. The development of the Shetland spaceport at Saxford is now significantly ahead of the rest of the field in this. So getting that project across the line will actually be something that brings benefit to other projects right across the whole of the United Kingdom. Will you meet with me and the developers of Saxford and Shetland to discuss what the government can do directly and indirectly to help them?
It feels like I'm going to be meeting with everybody, but I'm very happy to meet with him. And indeed, I'm meeting with Orbex later on today, because it's a really important point that the launch sector is somewhere where we have a very specific geographical advantage and, in terms of skills, that we need to exploit to our best advantage for the whole of the UK economy. It's not just about what happens on Shetland, it's about lots of businesses as part of the supply chain, through from mission control to technological support. So yes, I'm very happy to meet with him.
Mike Reader.
Great, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Keeping children safe online is the priority for this government. The Online Safety Act places strict safety duties on online platforms such as Roblox to protect children from being groomed by online predators. Ofcom is the regulator for the regime, and they will set out steps in the codes for the platforms to take to fulfil their duties by the end of this year.
Irina.
Mr. Speaker, one of my constituents is a volunteer moderating the Roblox platform. His group have identified and had banned over 14,000 accounts involved in child grooming, exploitation and sharing indecent images. does the Secretary of State agree with me that whilst we drive for tech innovation and investment, we must keep online safety at the heart of our strategy?
I'm grateful for his question, and I extend my deepest sympathies to those who have been affected by the crimes that he has outlined here. The Online Safety Act and the measures that will be coming to force soon are there to directly impact that concern. I want those powers to be used as assertively as is possible. I've heard just today about another story affecting Roblox. I expect that company to do better to protect the service users, particularly children, on its website.
I am Khan. Melanie Ward.
Question number 2, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. At the International Investment Summit on Monday, some of the world's biggest science and tech firms committed to invest billions of pounds in Britain, growing our economy and creating new jobs across our country. In Rome last week, I launched the UK's first online safety agreement with the United States. By working with our closest partners, home to the world's biggest tech companies, we will create a safer online world for our children. Finally, I'd like to congratulate, on behalf of the whole House, Sir Demis Hassabilis and Geoffrey Hinton for the Nobel Prizes for which they were won last week. Their extraordinary achievements are testament to the phenomenal level of AI talent that is fostered in Britain today.
Melanie Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There are numerous examples of the damage that out-of-control social media and mobile phones are doing to our young people, including in my area of Fife. The Courier newspaper has played an important role in highlighting these. Does the Secretary of State recognise the concerns that the Safer Phones Bill, presented today by my honourable friend, the member for Whitehaven and Workington, and backed by many across this House, seeks to address?
I'm grateful for the question, and also pay tribute to the Courier newspaper in her area for exposing some of these issues. We must keep children safe and vulnerable people safe when they're online. It is my intention to make sure that safety is baked in from the outset. When it comes to keeping children safe in this country, everything is on the table, and I am open-minded as to how we move forward in order to achieve a much safer environment. Companies releasing products into our society should see it as a privilege, not a right. I have high expectations on behalf of this country to make sure that safety is baked in from the start.
Secretary Andrew Griffith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Did the Secretary of State fully disclose to the Civil Service Commission the labour links of one of the most senior civil service appointments, or the £66,000 donation he received?
Every donation that was made to this party in opposition has been declared in the appropriate ways, but I'm proud to be part of a party that raises standards in public life rather than votes to lower them. And, Mr. Speaker, I'm also proud to be part of a party that comes into government and attracts talent to working for it, whereas when they see talent, they libel it.
Well, Mr. Speaker, thanks to Whitehall Watch, we have a copy of the form. It's clear that the Secretary of State failed to mention the conflicts of interest as required by the Ministerial Code. In the words of the Prime Minister's favourite pop star, some would say he's guilty as sin. Will he refer himself to the advisor on standards, or do we have to wait for the Prime Minister to finish organising VIP motorcades and do it for him?
There we have it. We have a party that attacks civil servants who are gravitating the world's greatest talent coming to this party with this government to work for it. When he sees talent in government, he libels it and saddles the taxpayer with the bill. This government attracts talent, and I'm proud of it.
Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The first Farnborough International Space Show will take place in my constituency in March next year. With space agencies from across the world already signed up to attend, the show will allow the UK to stand on the world stage and showcase our position as a convener of global innovation. Will the Secretary of State and the UK Space Agency pledge their support to this show? And can I invite him to join me at this inaugural event?
Farnborough has done an astonishing job at getting British aviation into the global news. This is something I've supported. My dad served in the Fleet Air Arm back in the 1960s, and I went with him many times to Farnborough to see the planes he worked on up there in the sky. The fact that Farnborough is now moving into space is something that we should celebrate as a country and as a House. Of course, I am very grateful for what they're doing, and of course I will be there to participate in the event in any way that is meaningful when it comes around. Thank you.
Rebecca Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. BD UK has recently classified Devon, including rural areas like Dartmoor National Park, as a Type C procurement under Project Gigabit. However, there are concerns about how agile and timely its delivery will be. Will the Minister agree to meet with me to discuss the speedy rollout of broadband in Dartmoor National Park?
Yeah. It seems I've never been... Thank you. It seems I've never been so popular. Of course, I'm very happy to meet with her. It's a very serious point that we want every single part of this country to share in the digital future. We can only do that if we have the infrastructure everywhere in the country that we need.
Samantha Niblett.
I know that my right honourable friend shares the delight that many of us felt when it was announced researchers from UK-based AI company Google DeepMind are to share a Nobel Prize for their work on protein folding, a technology that will help shape economies of the future. As founder of Labour Women in Tech, I want this technological growth to be diverse. So I ask both the government what it's doing to ensure that the UK remains a global leader in this tech space, and what it's doing to ensure that my constituents in South Derbyshire trust that this is technology can and will benefit everyone.
Can I thank my honourable friend for her question and for all the work that she does to encourage more women into tech. And it's great to know that the tech world isn't just full of tech bros, but there are quite a lot of tech sisters as well. We are committed to building upon UK's success as a global AI leader, and the upcoming AI Action Plan demonstrates this commitment to foster the trust and ensure safe development of AI models by introducing binding regulation on a handful of companies developing the most powerful AI systems, fostering trust in these technologies. We will also will continue to be...